Alright guys, here we go. The most embarrassing part often of the show when I show my own games, but it's actually not all that bad today, and it's once more not about the final result, it's just about the first few minutes in the game, which I think are fun. I think this is a fun opening, I think it's really fun to play, and it's been reasonably effective for me as well, so I just want to show you guys. Someone asked for it, he said just focus on the start, and I said well, alright, here you go. These 3 replays are all of today, and I just randomly grabbed them, so once more, I really didn't do it because I might happen to win this game or lose this game. That is not important at all. I just said like, alright, I'm going to use 3 replays against Zerg, and these were the first 3 that I run into. So you guys see me once more go for the pylon in the base. I used to always play Nexus Fast Expand in this matchup, which is something that, I mean, I would still say is the standard, even though it's really quite 50-50 these days. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to go 11 gate. Now that's something that you guys know from my PvP opening. Why I like this? Well, once more, I'm pretty much opening the same way as I like to do in PvP, which is perhaps a little bit silly, but I've actually done reasonably well with it. This guy, the openings I face are completely different as well, so it doesn't really matter. What's more important is how the opening unfolds and what I'm trying to achieve with it. Now I will spend 2 chrono boosts on the Nexus, start mining a little bit of gas, drop the Cybercore immediately on 17, then you also get the pylon on 17, and after that you're gonna get another probe. And normally, like in PvP for instance, you would already take your second gas right now because that's what you normally want to do. Now in this case I'm not going to do that because of course we do want to expand. We're not going to play one base PvEZ because that's pretty much suicide. So after this you have a little bit of extra minerals anyways, even after producing the Stalker and researching warp gate technology, that you can immediately drop your pylon on low ground. One of the most awesome things about opening like this is that not always, but very often you will be able to pick up the first Overlord. Now in this case I am not able to do it because this guy scouted kind of weird. Most of the time you see the first Overlord flying over here. On a map like Daybreak you won't get it, and on Neo Planet S you won't get it either, but on a lot of other maps you will actually be able to pick up the first Overlord, and that's obviously a really nice pickup already because that slows Zerg down quite a bit. Now this is something I should always remember, by the way, that the Overlord goes here. That's not matter, it's something for late game, we're not focusing on that. After the first chrono boost, immediately use the second and third chrono boost on this one gate, while I'm gonna go on a little adventure with my Stalkers. Now, 9 out of 10 times when Zerg players are going to scout a gateway first, or at least in the games that I've played, and I can only imagine it's the same high level, they're not going to go 3 hedge before gas because that's kind of risky, it's hard to defend. You can easily get out microed for a long time, certainly if they followed up with, like, let's say 4 gate low eco. Even if it's on 2 bases, that could be very tricky to deal with as Zerg. So they want to get quick gas, they want to get Zergling speed, which means that Zerg is going to stay on 2 bases. Now, this kind of creates a very low eco game because me spending the chrono boost on the gateways and Zerg not going up to 3 bases forces the game to be completely different already. If you play a lot in this scenario, you will probably feel more comfortable early on already as well, because Zerg players, they've played it 1,000 times just to go 3 hedge, no gas, and play from this point on. If you open a little bit different, for instance, like something with this, or something like this, I should say, you're already going to be in a different scenario. You might be like, hey, I'm actually going to have more experience than my opponent in this scenario. And if you watch Cats play, Cats is the absolute champion in unorthodox games. And that's something like this goes as well. I just want to make sure here that he wasn't going for 3 hatches early on. That wasn't the case. So one of the most important things in this situation is that you want to get your Stalkers out in time as well. This game I wasted a lot of time. I was kind of just running around. I saw these 2 queens immediately, which was a little bit weird. Normally that doesn't really happen, and even a 3rd queen. So I didn't really want to take too much damage on my Stalkers. But you want to go home around 6 minutes and 5 seconds, because after you get the forge here, you get a second gas, then you're going to get 2 more gates, and then with this 1 gate that you already have early on, the warp gate will be ready. You will be able to warp in a sentry or a zealot, whatever you want, to complete your wall off. But of course you don't want to lose 3 Stalkers, that's a pretty expensive loss. So around 6:05, 6:10 you really want to run home. In this game, however, I was quite stubborn and I didn't do that. But it doesn't really matter. What does matter is that, as you guys can see, this is a pretty low eco game. Zerg is still on 2 base, and to be honest, I like playing against 2 base Zerg. Yes, my expand is late, but I'm producing quite a few pros from my first base. And if you follow this up with another harass build, let's say Stargate, which is something that I like to do, you're going to keep this a really low economy game. And in general, I prefer playing like that, rather than playing against Zerg who goes to 80 drones untouched, and then suddenly you're going to have to get either you have to play really defensive. That was terrible micro by me, by the way. This guy can't even micro a bunch of Stalkers. That was a little bit better, but because I was so focused on my little micro right now, I suddenly looked at the clock and was like, 6:40. Normally speed should already be ready by now. like, it doesn't really matter anyways if I pick up a queen or not. There was no reason for me to stick around this long, but I just grabbed these replays randomly. These were not the best examples, but it's all about the opening. I open up with 3 Stalkers, chrono boost them out as soon as possible, drop the third pylon on the low ground, follow it up with a forge, follow it up with a cannon. What I often like to do is build the Nexus even before the forge. It's something you can get away with if you kill the first Overlord. If you don't do that, it's a little bit risky. Now obviously speed did kick in for this guy, and he was going to try to run, but I still have my wall of off in time. So yes, I lost those Stalkers, but this is a pretty low economy game. 36 against 38, well, that's a situation I feel very comfortable in, certainly because I'm following it up with Phoenixes. And in this case, I'm actually going to follow it with Phoenix +1. That's something I've been messing around with. I think Phoenixes are extremely good when they have the +1 upgrade. Of course, this does mean that you're going to have a very low amount of units on the ground, and it will cut in a few things, and I'm still going to have to figure out how well it really works on the absolute highest level of play. But against a lot of Zergs that I've been playing against, and for the people who wonder, my account right now is ranked 3 in Master League. I have 1,350 points, I believe, so it's quite a few. It's definitely not little. So my opponents are not like Diamond League or something. And that's, of course, no disrespect to Diamond League, but I'm trying to say that my strat is reasonably legit. Of course, there's a big difference between a High Masters player and a GSL champion, a world of difference even. But the point is that I'm not playing against guys who have never played this game before. And I'm just keeping this game very low economy. Once more, you can see now he sells the Phoenixes, which means that Zerg is going to probably produce a couple of Spore Crawlers, which cuts down the economy even more. Phoenix is, of course, excellent in harassing, as in picking off drones, picking off queens. I think this is really fun. If you guys think that this is getting a little bit too confusing, I have 2 more replays where I will show pretty much the exact same thing. Completely different follow-ups though, but that doesn't matter. It's all about the opening, keeping Zerg on 2 base, which is something I like. And if they don't go to 2 base, you can put so much gateway pressure on them. You can micro so long with your Stalkers that eventually it should still be worth it for you. I go to 3 bases relatively quickly in my opinion, 9 minutes 30 seconds for a low economy game. That is really quick. I also saw him produce a ton of speedlings, which basically means that, hey, I feel all I have to do is just produce an insane amount of Zealots, and this hatchery or this Nexus should be fine. All these speedlings means that this is even a more low economy game than it already was, and right now, as silly as it is, without too much happening in this game, I already felt like I pretty much won it. As long as this Zealot doesn't move, which fortunately it doesn't. Normally, guys, it does, because I make a lot of silly mistakes. But yeah, my Phoenix is having a field day. Look at these +1 Phoenixes, by the way. How quick they kill queens. It's pretty much insane. Obviously, they're really good in killing drones as well. They're good in everything. I saw all the speedlings. I know that he's very low in economy. I can idle above sports because I kill everything so quickly. It doesn't even matter. Now he's going to pretty much go all out trying to kill this Nexus, which is obviously a mistake by him against all my +1 Zealots. +1 just finished up. Kind of lucky timing, perhaps. But even otherwise, I still had a Mothership Core, I had Purify, I have a lot of probes here as well. And with all these Phoenixes alive and the economy that Zerg has, I would never lose this game. After I killed all those speedlings, I know that, okay, from this point on, he's probably going to go super heavy drone mode, because he invested all this larva into speedlings, didn't really do anything for him. He is going to go up to 4 bases, so I just made a couple of gateway units, and soon, if I'm a little bit faster, if I increase the APM one day, I will move. Well, that takes a long time. Alright, eventually I do move out with these gateway units. My Phoenixes had pretty good control. I saw there was pretty much nothing on the map for me to worry about. So I'm just gonna fly in the main base once more, pick off some stuff. Yes, there are Spore Crawlers, but +1 Phoenixes, they really don't care about Spore Crawlers. Meanwhile, this little hit squad, and yes, for the first time in my career, I actually brought a Mothership Core, because of course Rico is very good, but it's something I still have to teach myself. This was a slight over-eager lift. But with these units running in over here and the Phoenixes over here, the guy just realized that with the bad economy that he had all game long, there was nothing what he was going to do anymore. Now this all went a little bit too quick, so next game I'm really going to slow it down. And I'm going to once more show you guys the opening and why I like it. But now this is all about getting at least a good idea of where I'm aiming at, so you guys know the final destination. Now it's time to go step by step. This game is actually a little bit different. This guy opened up kind of crazy, but I'm sure that a lot of people already wonder, like, okay, but if you open up with a gateway in your main, how are you going to deal with Zerglings early on? Isn't that really annoying? And how you can deal with that if your units are out on the map? Well, actually, this game, it shows that it's not all that hard. Of course, an absolute blind counter to this would be a 10 pool with 9 gas and immediately quick speed, but there's honestly no one on Earth who's doing that. If they're doing that, they're either map hacking or just having the sickest gambling run of all time, and they should go to Vegas instead of playing ladder. because they would probably win a lot of money playing preps. So once more, I'm going to go 11 gate, 2 chrono boosts on the Nexus, take the assimilator, start mining gas, 17, in this case 16 because my split was so good, automatic split for the win. I'm going to get cybernetic core, then I'm going to get a second pylon. I was really confused by his drone scout. And he was going to produce quite a few slow links early on, which I think was very confusing. But anyways, it didn't really change anything. What it did still do is like, okay, he scouts this and he doesn't want to go 3 hatch before gas against an opening like this. So he's going to take an extractor, and this is all that we want to do. We want to keep it a low economy game, because then, in my opinion, it's a little bit tougher for Zerg to play from, but that's just personal experience and personal flavor. I might be on a completely different mindset a month from now on when I keep losing, but so far I've been really enjoying this style. So I chrono boost my first Stalker, I immediately chrono boost the second Stalker, I get the pylon. I did not get a free Overlord this game, so I'm gonna get the Forge on the low ground to start already with my wall off before Stalker runs here, just in case. He was going 3 hatch, but that's not the case. If he is, you can either like start really focusing this hatchery for a long time. You might be able to kill it if you bring over a 4th gateway unit as well. But what I prefer to do is run into the natural. Now this moment I suddenly realized, like, okay, this is very weird. The queen is not here, there are no drones here. So I kind of figured that there must have been units out on the map. Now normally this might look like pretty tricky. Okay, I don't have a wall of yet. I have to make sure this stalker doesn't get surrounded. So I did a little stalker dance and it did juke. So immediately you get a mothership core, obviously very good against slow links. And I know that it's very unlikely that he's going to get speed before 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Like that is the bare minimum. What's more likely is like 6:20, 6:25. Now I was quite busy microing at home because he made sure that my wall didn't go up and stuff. It's a little bit annoying. And now I'm still microing here. As I said, pretty multitasking intensive. But what this does do is, once more, this creates a very unusual low economy game, which I don't mind playing from at all. And I actually find that more easy than playing against a Zerg who starts off on 3 hatcheries. So, little bit of stalker micro. Finally do something right. I did eventually lose those 2 stalkers on the other side of the map. But look at the worker count right now, 22 against 23, which is really crazy for this moment on. Of course, my Nexus was quite late right now, because I was a little bit worried, because I kept losing this pylon, and I want to rebuild that pylon in time. This is barely in time. I mean, I have a sentry right now. Normally, I don't go for the full wall off. I actually think full wall offs are not very good. But because this game has been so weird, and I know this guy made absolutely no workers at all early on, I decided to go for a full wall off just in case I had to deal with a big swell of speed links. But that actually wasn't the case. So from this point on, he's just going to go drone mode. And this opening worked out sort of well for him, because you can see that he's up 5-6 workers. He was making something and cancelled it. Not sure what it was. Maybe a roach warren. I'm still going to follow it up with a Stargate this game. I'm actually going to play quite differently. Now my Nexus was very late, much later than normally, because I had to deal with these slow links. Already down 6 workers. It's not the end of the world, but normally it shouldn't be that bad. So I'm just going to fast forward from now on, because it's not really how I follow this up, because you don't have to follow this up with a Stargate. I like to do it, but if you just follow it up with gateway pressure, you might be fine too. If you just go macro mode and Immortal Sentry behind this, not as in and all in, but just as Immortal Sentry go up to 3 bases, you might be fine too. Alright, he scouts my Stargate, which I was not too happy with. And now immediately when I see what he's going to do over here, he's going to make a couple of Hydras. Now I think Phoenixes, certainly with +1, are still very, very good against Hydra. If it's in small numbers. Like if I have more Phoenixes than Hydras in any engagement, I'm going to lift everything up, kill it so quick that I will barely lose anything. But this guy actually made a lot of Hydras early on, and I think I will lose 1 Phoenix. Yep. Actually took a lot of damage on the other one as well. So right now I'm kind of like, okay, this is something I don't like. Even though what's good, of course, is that this still is, okay, this is just 2-base Zerg, it's not the end of the world. 3rd base is just about to get saturated, but barely even. He doesn't have a lot of workers, but I am a little bit worried about these Hydras. But considering the fact that he is going up to 3 hatcheries already, I found it very unlikely that he was going to produce an insane amount of units. So I just kind of felt like, you know what, I had a lot of gates at home, because I saw these Hydras pretty here early on. I was like, I'm just going to make a bunch of extra gates, like you guys see in production tab. And I'm just going to go Gateway Phoenix. Phoenixes are really good to force the fight. Of course, I can bring the Mothership Core as well. Time Warp is excellent. I do lose the Mothership Core, but because this guy was so low eco, and yes, Hydras are amazing, but they're amazing in big numbers. So like a small group of Hydras is really not going to kill a bunch of Gateway units and Phoenixes. So I'm just kind of running in. I'm going to kill this hatchery. Right now, I could potentially back off, but I felt I killed so much that it would be fine for me to just push the issue. I have 1-0 upgrades as well. It's very important against speed links. You always want to get at least +1. And I was able to win this game as well. Once more, kind of a weird game, but it's all because of the way he opened as well. A more standard game would have been him just making a couple of defensive units, then staying back, then going up to 3 bases, which is how most of the game goes. And I believe how my next game goes as well. The next game, I made a couple of mistakes. I will also end up losing this game. But once more, it's just to give you guys the idea of how to start off with a low economy game, and after that you can still turn it into a macro game, and this did turn into a macro game. I just messed up big time later on, which is something that happens quite often on my later games. So for the last time, guys, here we go. Start off with the pylon at 9, make probes, 11 gate, 1 chrono, and second chrono. Second chrono was behind the simulator. That's normally not what I do. Maybe I was typing too much and messed up the build order. So this guy going hedge first, that's of course the most economic opening for Zerg there is, and after that he follows it up with gas immediately. In this way they actually have a little bit quicker speed than they often do in different scenarios. So a little bit surprised. This is not like a super... I believe that Live maybe did this a few times against Minigun on MLG, but I could be wrong here. In any case, this is not the opening you normally face. Normally you just face like pull hatch, and then after that, after they scouted what you're doing, they drop the hatchery. But this guy dropped gas immediately, which happened to be very good for him, which is why I probably end up losing all my stalkers. And this is a scenario that I spoke about early on. In a lot of cases you're gonna kill the first overlord, which is really annoying for Zerg, and also allows you as Protoss to perhaps play a little bit more safe. I did still drop the Forge first here, which I'm not sure why I did it, because sometimes I like to just go Nexus, then Forge, gate, pylon, cannon behind it, and you have a complete wall. But yeah, this game I kinda messed up. But the opening, once more, I just spent 3 chrono boosts on the first 3 stalkers, then I dropped the third pylon on the low ground, then it's either Forge or Nexus, and with a little bit of luck you pick up the first overlord, then you run across the map and hey, you play against 2-base Zerg, which is pretty nice. You picked up an overlord, you slow him down, and it's gonna be a low economy game, and you can kind of decide the pace of the game rather than just Zerg droning up, and after that you'll see where you're at. I played this very safe, and in the end it still kind of backfired. But that doesn't matter. So I'm kind of just like microing here a little bit. And what I said normally still counts in my opinion. Normally what I want to do is I want to get out of here around 6:05, 6:10. Like 6:20 I think that speed is ready. So when you start running back around 6:05, 6:10, by the time speed is ready, you're so close to your wall that most of the time your cannons will just save your stalkers. And the more links he made, the less drones he has, so that also means the less economy he has. And if you follow it up with a Stargate like how I like to do, you keep this as a very low economy game. But yeah, this guy went like extremely quick gas for some reason, which is something that you really don't see all that often. So here I'm like, what? That's really quick. It's like ridiculously quick. So I end up losing these Stalkers, which obviously sucks because it's an expensive loss. But still, the sort of what I'm trying to do is still sort of succeeded, because this is still an extreme low economy game. And that's how I like to play against Zerg. At least that's how I like to play right now. That's what I've been experimenting with. This is a very ugly wall. This is not something you want to take a picture of and put it on your wall, because no, don't try this at home. Anyways, I followed this up with Phoenixes. But yeah, this guy has like the sixth sense of all time. Not only did he drop like extreme quick gas against me, like the quickest that I've faced in pretty much every game, he also gets an insane amount of spores early on. So my Phoenixes don't really do a whole lot. Like right now, I am down 6 workers, but this base is just barely starting for him. I'm still going to get a base in a reasonable time as well, a third base that is. And normally my Phoenixes will always do at least some damage. This guy, however, was like extremely well prepared without ever sacrificing this overlord. Didn't really scout the Stargate, but he decided to get 6 spores, which was obviously a right call by him, because I mean, he didn't see anything, so it's likely that he's expecting perhaps Stargate play. But he made a lot of spores, which didn't really justify my +1 for the Phoenix. Normally, even if they scout the Stargate, they drop 3-4 spores and you'll be fine, because with +1 Phoenixes you still do a lot of damage. You will still be able to idle above a spore, kill a queen easily. But yeah, if there are 2 spores everywhere and queens are in protective positions like this, then it's going to be pretty hard to justify the investment of these Phoenixes. That's not the reason why I lost this game though, and that's also not that important why I lost the game. It's more about the opening. At the end of the day, I still don't think this is a very bad scenario to be in. It's 61 drones against 55 probes. This base is on the way, it's almost done. I'm following this up, this game completely different with double forges. I'm going 3 base. but like he barely has any units other than speedlings. So it is not like this is a terrible scenario despite losing my 3 stalkers early on. Normally I would sign for this position, but this game I do mess it up, but it doesn't really have to do anything with the opening. So I do think that you guys get the clear picture of the opening, which is the most important thing. We just want to share with you guys this week. If you guys watch my stream, you would have definitely seen me playing around with it as well. I am right now almost in a phase that I feel pretty comfortable with it. I still don't know how extremely good it really is, but I did want to share it, and yeah, want to see if you guys could mess around with it a little bit, want to see if you guys could perhaps be more successful than me. I'm just gonna fast forward this game right now because this like nothing is happening for a little while, and I do want to show you guys the end of the game because I don't only want to show the games where I win, which I think is like, I want to say something bad which I can't say in stream, but yeah, it's not about boosting my ego, but winning some ladder games, because of course, just like any other person in the world, unless you're Polt, I do lose ladder games as well. I eventually lose this game. I did a pretty good job here delaying his forward base, I think, so normally you would say that this is a reasonable position for me, but I played a style which I'm a little bit unfamiliar with. Like, I completely ignored robo units. I want to go blink and charge and just spam gateway units all over the map, and I think I could have made it work if I didn't take the horrible fight that I eventually did. I do like his follow-up, the Ultralisk, which is very good against what I want to do. Ultra is extremely good against, in my opinion, Phoenix play for some weird reason. It's because Protoss often, when they invest in Phoenixes, they do not have all that much on the ground. So Ultralisk are actually a very smart follow-up. Guys having corruptors all around the map. Perhaps checking for warp prisms, which I was going to send out eventually. So here I'm going to go up to 4 bases. Upgrade-wise, I'm doing like reasonable, not as good as him. Because of course, normally he is Zerg, but this is all not that important. This is not really what I want to show you guys, and now you guys can see me making one of the biggest mistakes that I make today. I played like 15 games today, but yeah, this was probably the biggest one. I go on creep. If I like, I didn't really know what I was gonna face. I saw a lot of speedlings, but I didn't expect ultras already. So I thought that this one Archon was sort of going to be fine because I had a couple of storms as well, and I thought it was going to be mostly speedling, baneling, and then with something else. I wasn't exactly sure. I wasn't really using my brain. I had an Archon at home, which didn't join this fight, and yeah, now you guys are gonna see me get absolutely crushed. Because here I was like, alright, I think I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna get my warp prism, I'm gonna warp in some more units, I'm gonna be all pro, I'm gonna warp in over here, and then suddenly I just got completely crushed in the middle of the map, which I just want to share with you guys. Also, I believe upgrade wise this is not the best timing ever, as in 40 seconds I at least had another armor upgrade. Right now it's 2-2 against, well, 2-1, it's not too bad. But yeah, this is, I was like, what, ultras? And my storms were not very good. I kind of get swarmed. These storms do kind of hit, but these Archons are just too late. I think if I have 4 Archons here immediately, this fight would go a lot better for me. I obviously could have had more units as well. I was just really surprised by the ultras. I didn't expect those. Now I wiped in a lot of extra units. Eventually I'm sort of fine here, but not fine enough. Like, I did start doing wiping units over here, but he was already rallying zealots, zerglings I should say. And this was just a very expensive loss for me because I'm investing 700-800 minerals here. During all this I am going up to 4 bases, which is not all that bad. I have a reasonable economy as well. But here I should have just backed off. There was no reason for me trying to get ballsy with a couple of blink stalkers on creep. Not something you should ever do. I was like, yeah, hero icon, 13 kills. And then suddenly he had a lot of speedlings. I also think that in this phase of the game I should always add a DT shrine. Certainly because I had a couple of phoenixes before as well, and if you go phoenixes and DTs can be very nice because they don't always go corruptors. But yeah, me losing all these units over here pretty much sealed my fate. If I would have had DTs here, I think I would have been able to buy enough time for myself to stabilize and sort of make it a game, because I do have a lot of money, but I just didn't really know how I want to spend it. And Zealots, unfortunately, not very good anymore against Ultralisk. Once upon a time they were. These days they're not. I tried to get Purify up over here, that would have made sort of a difference, but I'm down 80 supply, so I don't think it would have made a world of difference. And yeah, because of that terrible fight in the middle and where I overextended a little bit, I got crushed. But I think I really got crushed because of the opening. I'm just gonna fast forward here because, hey, well, this game's pretty much over. I'm down 100 supply. Who cares? Maybe I did in GG. Nah, I did in GG. Maybe with a couple of tears in between, that something happened, but that sometimes happened. But I do always GG. Anyways, most importantly, I just want to show you guys the opening, the 3-Stalker opening, which I like against Protoss, but now in a different way, where you build a third pylon on the low ground, still expand, but kind of play against 2-base Zerg rather than instant 3-base Zerg. I've played an insane amount of Nexus first or Forge first into Nexus games, and I definitely don't think that this is necessarily much better than that, but I think the games are more fun to play. There's definitely a lot of action. And I personally find it more easy to play against low economy Zerg. And also I think Zerg has to worry about more follow-ups. If you stay on 2-base and you kind of pressure with a lot of gateway units, this could be very scary. If you just go Phoenixes and they don't scout it in time, you're going to deal a lot of economic damage. And you can still go up to 3 bases. You could maybe even follow this up with some crazy robo pushes. I don't know. I've had fun with experimenting with this. So yeah, I just want to share it with you guys. Hopefully you guys find it interesting. Hopefully you guys win some Protoss points on the ladder, because I could use a couple of Protoss guys in my division. So join me there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and see you next week.